Welcome to the notes on establishing congruence in triangles. So remember, congruent means they're exact same shape and size. So here's the first little example. If you know that angle F is congruent to angle J, notice they both have the single tick marks here at F and J. All right, you know that G is congruent to K. All right, there's the tick marks, and then you know that that H is congruent to L, and then you know that all the corresponding segments. So if you know that all the corresponding parts of a triangle are congruent, then we can say the triangle is congruent. But we don't have to find all 6 parts if we want to establish triangle congruence. We don't have to say all 3 angles and all 3 sides are congruent. We have congruence theorems, and we're going to talk about those. Okay, so the first one stands for SSS. That stands for side, side, side. Okay, side, side, side. I'll write that out. Now, side, 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 what does that mean? Well, it means if we know that you have 2 triangles, you know that all 3 sides are congruent, you can say the triangle is congruent. So if this side is congruent to this side, and these 2 sides are congruent, and the third side is congruent, well, then we can say that those triangles are congruent. So side, 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 that's the first one. Next one, side, angle, side. Now, notice the angle, all right, is between the sides. So when you're labeling, it's super important. So if we know that this side is congruent to this side, okay, and then we know that these 2 sides are congruent. Now, which angle has to be congruent? It's the angle that's in between those 2 sides, or some people say it's the angle that's formed by the congruent sides. Notice the congruent sides form that angle. So side, angle, side, I'm just going to make a little note. It's the included angle. Included angle when we're doing side, angle, side. Again, when you're going in order, you can't skip more than 1 part. So we'll talk about that later, but when I look at side, 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 I've got a side, I skip the angle, but then I got another side. All right, I can't skip 2 parts when you start going in order, and we'll talk more about that. Okay, ASA, angle, side, angle. Again, the side, all right, is between the 2 angles. So if I know that this angle is congruent to this angle, and let's say that these 2 angles are congruent, again, you're going to really have to watch those tick marks in these pictures, then the side has to be the side that's between those 2 angles. So it would be this side. Again, angle, side, angle. If I went the other way, if I went angle, it's not this side, it's not this, I can't go the other way. It's got to kind of be consecutive. And then finally, angle, angle, side. This one's pretty straightforward. Again, let's say we've got those same angles. And really pay attention here. All right, notice the difference. These 2 angles are the same. Now, the side is not the side between the angles. Otherwise, it'd be angle, side, angle. It could be either side. I'm going to say it's this side this time. And there we go, angle, angle, side. So when we start, notice I got an angle. Here's an angle. I skip a side. Here's an angle. Here's the side. I can't go the other direction. I can't say side there because we don't know this angle and we don't know this side. So I can't go the other way. So again, when you're labeling, order is important. So that could be, we call it angle, angle, side, or SAA. So now that we know the 4 theorems, let's get to look at some problems. And I'll even make a little note. If you want, you can call it side, angle, angle. But again, it's really important to know the difference that the side is not in between the 2 congruent angles. But if you have 2 congruent angles on the side, you know you have triangles are congruent. Just got to label them right. So here are the questions. All right, here's the type of question. Are the following pairs of triangles congruent? If they are, just name the congruence. So first one we look at. All right, we've got a side, we've got this side, and we've got these sides all match up. So yep, it's side, side, side. It's that easy. All right, next one. We've got 2 angles. All right, we've got these angles are congruent, and the sides that are congruent form that angle. So this is side, there's our angle, side. So yes, side, angle, side. That's all we're doing for these. This one. All right, we've got a side, we've got another side. Okay, it's side, angle, side, 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 side. All right, well, this angle is not in between those sides. Here, it would have to be this angle right here. So it looks like we'd have congruence, but this is actually no, because that angle is not in between the congruent sides. ASS is not a property yet. A couple more. This one right here, angle, side, angle. Yep. All right, there's our 2 angles right here, and the side is between them, so it's angle, side, angle. Couple more, 2 angles on the side. Notice them side by side. I put them right next to each other. It is yes, but now the side is not between the 2 angles. So that's angle, angle, side. And then this one, be careful. We got three angles. But notice, angle, angle, angle is not one of our theorems, okay? And we can talk more about that in the future, but be careful of that one. That is no. Last type of questions. All right, hey, again, are they congruent? If they are, we've got to name them. So this one, all right, we've got two angles and a side. Okay, so they are congruent. All right, the criteria is angle, angle, side. Now, here's the really important part, naming them. Remember, the congruent statements. The sides have to match up. So on this first triangle, I'm going to start with triangle E. That's got the circle. And I'm going to go to D. And then I'm going to go to C. So my other triangle, I got to match it up. Since I start at E, which has the O, I got to start at M for this side. And then I went to D, which has the X. Well, the X right here is at angle N. And then I end at C. Let's take a look at another one. Again, just for practice. Are these two congruent? We've got an angle, but we've got no congruent side. Be careful. Remember, this is called the reflexive property. If this side right here, CE, is in both triangles, so CE is congruent to CE. When something's congruent to self, we call it the reflexive property. So we can say that this side is congruent. So now you can see it is side, angle, side. So yes, side, angle, side. Angle, side, angle. We got the two angles with the side in between. And then we've got to label them. Again, so this one over here, I'll start with angle. I'll call this one D. And then I'll go to C, E. Well, since I started at D, that's R on this side. And then I went to the X, which is C. So again, this one is C as well. And then E. So RCE is congruent to DCE. Now you know the ways to prove triangles congruent using those four properties.